Hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to do a quick demonstration to demonstrate how the speaker load of an amplifier affects the sound of the amplifier. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So let's say that we've got a Celestion Greenback in this cabinet over here. And we play the amp and we listen to the sound of it, and then we swap it out for a Celestion Vintage 30. It sounds different. I think we've all probably experienced that. Now, the speakers themselves have different tones, but the other thing that's actually going on here is that the interaction between the amp and the speaker is changing how the amp sounds between those two different speakers. This is not something that we normally get to listen to, but this rig is set up to demonstrate that difference, and I'll kind of explain what I mean there. So this rig, basically what we've got right now is a speaker cabinet plugged into the amp, and then the power station, you're going to think of it as a second cabinet plugged into the amp because it's only acting as a load box, a dummy load right now. You may normally think of the power station as an attenuator that's between the amp and the speaker cabinet and acting as an attenuator. That's not what's going on here right now. So we've got two speaker cables. Apologies, it's kind of hard to see back here, but two speaker cables on the speaker out to the amp. One is going into the speaker cabinet itself, and the other one is going into the power station. So I'll repeat that for clarity. There is nothing coming out of the power station, only acting as a load box right now. So these are kind of two speaker, quote, cabinets that are running in parallel with the amplifier. I'll repeat that for clarity. The power station is not plugged into the speaker cabinet. It's only acting as a dummy load right now. So the power station has these reactive load switches that are kind of designed to mimic different types of speaker loads. And as we mentioned, speaker loads do sound different. So in one position, these switches may act something like, say, a 1x12 with a greenback in it. In a different position, they may act like a 2x12 with G12H30s or a 4x12 or something like that. The purpose of them is to mimic different types of speaker loads so that you can get the amp to sound like it does without the power station in line. So I'm going to flip the switches, I'll stop jabbering, and you're going to hear how the effect of this reactance changes the sound of the amp. Pretty crazy, huh? So again, this is we're not changing the speaker. We're not the amp is not or the power station rather is not outputting into the speaker cabinet. This is literally just a passive difference in the interaction between what this is presenting to the amp and what the amp is seeing. So to my ears, I hope it comes across in the camera. It's pretty impactful. Another thing the power station lets me do is change the impedance that the amp is seeing. So it's set to 16 ohms right now. I got a 16 ohm speaker in the cabinet, so the total load is 8 ohms, and I can swap this this down to 8 ohms, so it's seeing a different load. Don't do this at high volume or anything like that. Don't do it for long periods. It could damage the amp, but I'll show you that it may be hard to hear with the camera, but it may change the sound a little bit as well. So I can hear that in the room a little bit, in the amount of volume it's putting out. A little bit in the low end, a little bit in the top end. It does sound a little different. Not as impactful as the reactive load switches, but yeah, it's definitely there as well. So yeah, I hope this was informative. Hope you'll learn something, and as usual with any of my videos, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.